But I am going to be doing some videos that is based on, I'm making a coffee, based on some of my predictions both astrologically and psychically for 2022. I've got the videos up at the moment, and they are, most of the videos I'm doing at the moment, I'm being practical, right? I'm pretty much to the point I'm trying to give you guys some of my predictions inside your zodiac signs. And that's pretty much to help you get ready for what's to come. Because we are moving into, look, we're going to be having the Venus energy playing out, right? We've also got the eclipse in December, which you're already, a lot of that is really playing out. And it was really, I wouldn't say funny, it was really sad because we had a very well-known elder in the country, Australia, who did recently pass, and with that eclipse in Sagittarius, it does bring it to mind. We do tend to find with the eclipse, you know, the one thing I am seeing playing out at the moment, look at this makeup. This is me waking up, burning that midnight oil, getting your videos done. What you will find at the moment is, you know, Sagittarius is to do with religion. It's to do with religion, spiritual gurus, spiritual belief systems. We're moving into Christmas and New Year's. We've got a lot of that brewing under the surface. We're definitely creating healthy boundaries. But the other thing that you're going to find from here moving into 2022 and what I'm predicting is at the moment, you know, depending on where we are in the matrix of it, you know, we talk about woke and we talk about spirituality. And spirituality really isn't about judgment. It doesn't matter where you are on the path. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's not controlled. So many times gurus will give you the information and it's really up to you what you do with it. It's how you take it. So number one, we can have more extreme weather. That's very common astrologically for that to happen. The other thing we can have is almost people spewing their belief systems and getting triggered and maybe going into victim consciousness, but really going into the root core of faith. And faith is about something that is within inside you, and it's also about something sometimes in a mirror that we are lacking. So it's coming up in the collective. People are speaking, feeling, and a lot of times, you know, we want people to understand where we're coming from. But if we believe it, we don't need to promote it. You know, it just is. So I have been saying for a while, we're moving into a Venus retrograde. It's so funny, I'm seeing so many people do their hair, and I'm like, this is really interesting. Yeah, man, it looks really good. But the thing is, if you do it now, you may not be as happy with the outcome next year. It won't resonate with you because what's happening is, could you imagine going through a rebirth and you're like, right, this new version of me, I'm going into the self-discovery. If you're going to do anything to that degree, it's better to actually do something really temporary. But if you're going to go to extremities and say you've got long hair and you hack it right off, more than likely next year when you get there, you're not going to be happy with that. So if you're feeling somehow on a subconscious level right now something's going on and you're going to the external of you, the eclipse in Sagittarius is saying, whoa, okay, where is this problem coming from? Where is this reaction coming from? What's going on deep down inside you right now? And so a lot of the times the reaction there is, again, it's that sense of there's something. So it could be you're feeling that on the external, you know, you just don't resonate with who you used to be, and that's okay too. But do we have to discard all of who you are because all of who you are is perfect? Right away. It's like slow down. It's Venus retrograde. So that can be going to extremities. We're going to be super generous, but a lot of people are talking about money. Which I might yet do, no promises. I was talking to a couple of people and I was saying that maybe we can talk about, you know, different ways that from January, from here, moving into January, we can prepare, but also to give traditional gifts. And that can be just making things. It doesn't have to be something that's super expensive. It can be doing things that are really old school, traditional. A lot of you will find that you're wanting to do those things right now. But again, subjects to do with siblings can come up, subjects to do with family. And I mean, Christmas, we have Uranus and Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius. I mean, that is like You know, trying to get everyone together, trying to appease everyone, it's not possible. Uh, and there can be other things going on. So it doesn't have to be that Christmas is the issue. It can be that there's difficulties going on in life, and you know what we're seeing in the collective is problematic. Now, the one thing I was seeing, because I have been preparing for 2022 with the Age of Aquarius magazine, if it goes into launch, you know, because look at Venus retrograde, who knows what's going to happen, but it's there ready to go, but it won't be till March. What I am seeing astrologically is moving over into January. A lot of the things that are already predicted are already coming through. You may find we have a mini lockdown. Okay, it's not going to be long. Could there be things going on in the world that are difficult? Yes. Could there be things of delays? Yes. I mean, literally, we're moving into January. We have Uranus and Taurus station, redirect station. Happy New Year's, right? We then have, we're still with Venus retrograde. We then go into shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. That's a whole lot of stuff going on there. One astrologer talked about it as feeling, we all know what Mercury retrograde's like. Now think back to 2020. Anyone remember what happened in 2020? January. We had a bloody Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, okay? And what happened, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, the tension point would have been shown. A lot of us were at home. Why? Because of what's happening in the collective. So yes, we're seeing that theme come back. Again, I will say it is going to be temporary, but it is a possibility. So, you know, when it does come to travel, number one is the eclipse in Sagittarius is linked to travel. So this is one of my predictions. And one of my warnings for you, should you choose to listen, and it's totally up to you. We usually, in an eclipse, it can take 6 months to renew that energy. So it's like, okay, we've gone through that cycle. We've had that eclipse in Sagittarius, and we're then transforming over. So there can be things to do with travel. So the one thing I will say is moving from here towards the eclipse in Sagittarius, and even a few weeks after, easy. Be careful on the road, okay? What you need to look out for, and this is both psychically, astrologically, because I learn what these things are. Look out for large vehicles. Look out for very murky, nice vehicles, and pay attention to the road. Now, during the last 2 years, it has been with the North Node in Gemini, very Mercury in nature. So, number one, we did need to be more careful. I mean, you would have had issues with your technology, and we can see that because everyone was jumping online due to having to be home. But it also was to do with traffic accidents. So, you tend to find with Mercury, it's in the North Node, but it's hyper amped up. And the closer we get to that moon phase at the end of December, it's going to bring these subjects up. It's going to bring both Gemini and Sagittarius up. All of those polarities we had, they're going to come to the forefront this month. So the one thing I can say is while driving, pay attention to the road. If you're socializing, be super cautious, be very realistic and practical. Also the frustration from a spiritual point of view, we're wanting to get on with it, but we need to be present right now. So be cautious on the road. Be cautious while socializing. If you are traveling, do expect delays. And that is because we're moving into Venus retrograde. It can be more costly to get back. You may not enjoy it as much as you thought because, you know, Venus retrograde can be, hey, you know, due to what's happening. Capricorn at the moment can link to government. So you can find, okay, you know, some places can travel, some places can't. That's Venus and Capricorn, and Venus is the social things we do. So at the minute moving over to January, that can be a little bit testing. So be really practical if you choose to do so. And then as we get over that portal, that step, the next 3 months, it then can start flowing through, and it's that restructuring of how we can trade, how we're looking after our money, how we can travel, and what those things are going to be. But at the moment, again, Venus is our well-being. Okay, so it can be health, it can be our well-being, it's our diet, but it is also the things we like to do, the food, you know, the the gifts we're trying to get. What else can it be? Health, well-being. You do tend to find if you were to plant a seed during Venus retrograde, the growth of that plant doesn't tend to grow too well. So that was another thing I actually made sure I did well and truly before Venus retrograde, was plant some vegetables. And I usually try to keep things that are quite practical that I can make depending on the season I'm in, so that I can make salads and soups and things to that degree. So the one thing is, if you do travel, bear in mind, moving into January, we're going into shadow phase of Mercury retrograde, and you could get stuck. Okay? And I'm not saying you will. There is a distinct possibility. The other thing is there can be tension with countries. And that can be for the simplistic reason of what is happening in the world, or it could be due to the astrological placement. So I wanted to make mention of that. So how has everyone been? Yeah, Leo, like I said, Leos, you got to understand, moving into an eclipse, it's foggy. Try not to control it, let go. What you can control, I mentioned this in the video, and they were analogies to use for you guys to navigate through this month. And it's almost like I said it on Facebook. I was having a bit of a chat on Facebook and talking about the news and propaganda and a lot of things that come up. And it's like we've really got to not jump into it. We've really got to just come back to this one space and look at what we directly can control. And that is what our actions are, our words, our thoughts. And kind of picture during an eclipse, fog. But you're needing to get to your destination. You're believing it's left, but it's really right. So you're kind of metaphorically thinking, oh, okay, don't. And it causes tension and anxiousness. So if there are things that you directly need to deal with them if you can. And it's also be practical. It's like we're entering into the end of the year. What can we do? What can't we do? So if we can't do certain things, it's okay to actually say, hey, this is a lot. Like, well, what can I do? I need to put that on the back burner. What do I have in my control, and what can I do within my control? And rest is super important, as much as you can to recoup, to put your energy into practical things. Blasts from the past are going to be coming back. It's not that it's a negative thing. It's there for a reason. We're going back over our values. We're going to have Juno, in Capricorn. So that's going to be an interesting one for the feminines, especially in connections and marriages. We're going back to traditional values. But again, when we had the whole Capricorn energy that we were going through, a lot of masculines really are tapping into their spirituality at the moment. And that's because Jupiter's going to enter into Pisces and they're coming out of the South Node. So from the spiritual polarity of masculines, they're having a spiritual shift too. And it can be where they're actually looking at things from a more practical standpoint. So yes, do expect communication with people from the past. You can be having a lot of dream states at the moment. You may be, really having lucid dreams. Really, maybe seeing things on your peripheral. We also may have something between now and January happening that is totally out of the box that we haven't seen. The one thing is with astrology, if there was anything that we could look at that is very unique, maybe more conversations about ET. And might be something to do with asteroids, but it's going to be something to do with the sky, and there is going to be something coming up relating to that, but it can be very left field to everything that we're currently dealing with right now, and it might be a little bit eye-opening. Any questions? So stay tuned, because I am going to do predictions for your zodiac signs. I'm also going to try and do a video that really goes down into the 2022, which is straight to the point. It's like, this is what I'm seeing. It won't be like this video. It will be very detailed in a sense of maybe what's happening with money, maybe what's happening with love, career, health. It could even be companies. At the moment, when we may see very large companies going down, we also may see things to do with musicians and sports stars, because Sagittarius can relate to that. Donald Trump might get back in the media. I don't know, because I don't really watch the news. The news stalks me. I get it on my Facebook feed, but I don't really look at the news. If I can avoid it, unless it's a different subject other than the practical. So I do have a twin flame update in the members hub today. So if you want to come join, we do have a promotion at the moment, which I'm going to be giving away a 1 hour Skype reading. I don't know how many I'm going to give, so I don't think it's just one. I will gauge where my schedule's at and how many. At this stage, it's 2, but it can be a lot more. So whomever is active in the month of December in the members hub, you guys go into the running for it as a thank you. And there's also the main platform. If you're subscribed to the channel, I'm going to be giving away voucher or vouchers, okay, for a 1 hour Skype reading with me. And that can cover anything to your twin flame path, astrology, soul coaching, you know, whatever really you're wanting. But it can be negotiated via the website. So once I announce it on the 24th of December, it'll be popped up in the community tab. I'll put a link to the website and you can directly connect in. I'll give you a code, and then that way we can negotiate a time and a place early 2022, preferably away from Mercury retrograde. But, you know, we'll see how we go. We can negotiate it, and there will be some giveaways for the end of 2022. You know? So if you're wanting to travel, I would suggest being careful. New Year's Eve, another warning date, be super careful. Also to do with extremities of emotions, just realise at the moment that with Sagittarius, it is spiritual, but it's also, we can be a little bit at the moment, like, you know, if we're really going into overreactive mode and we're wanting to push a subject onto a person, there's something going on with us. So just pause for a minute and know that it is relating to that eclipse in Sagittarius. I did say on Facebook, I didn't know if I wanted to come back on YouTube for the rest of the week because I was a little bit worried, because Sagittarius is transiting my 3rd house, and I was like, I just need to get some gaffer tape and not say anything. So if I offend you guys this month, I'm so sorry. It's 3rd house, but it can be confusion during this time with Mercury. The one thing I can say is with that going through Libra's chart in the 3rd house is it's very busy. So if you are really getting everything ready, it's quite busy, but there's also that time where you have to sit back and, you know, just let go and yeah, let go. So it is very busy for me this month. I am getting a lot of things ready for 2022, and that's so you guys are actually covered. We also need to be mindful of ways that we deal with stress between now and 2022, because we're going to have Jupiter and Pisces. We can find that with whatever happens on that side of the fence, we're needing to master that emotion and not get stuck in our heads, and not, make those dreams come true, put that work in. We might get quite foggy and disillusioned, but it also can be very spiritual. It can be very, I directly understand you, you understand me. But it's Jupiter is we need to move forward. So it can be where we're physically saying, can we move beyond this? Can we please just move forward? 12th house can be very psychic. It can be the house of imprisonment, incarceration. There's going to be interesting things happening in 2022. And again, it's like, it can be the subject to do with do we, don't we travel? What's our values? What's our thought processes? But you may find during that transit, whatever vice we use to deal with stress, it could become problematic. So it's going to teach us to use different things so that we're not avoiding the problem, we're addressing the problem. Hey, Dale, how are you? I showed Giggle baby YILDIZ this morning. I was like, and she said to me, who's that beautiful girl? So any questions for those of you that are here relating to 2022? Anything you want to know? Mercury retrograde, expect delays. If you can think back to 2020, anything around January, February that played out, it can come back again, because we are cycling those things out. And it is that we're having new beginnings, but it's like ironing the creases out. What's the other thing I can say? during a Mercury retrograde, it does feel tedious. We are going to feel impatient. You add Venus retrograde. You know, Venus is like this ruler. And it's like the three little stooges, right? You know, you get the good, the bad, the ugly. And we see all polarity. So we'll see the beauty in maybe our value system. We'll see maybe the yin to the yang. By the time you get to the middle phase of it, you're kind of like, you know, was it, wasn't it? And at the end of it, you can be very defiant. You don't really want to, you know, be controlled by those elements. So it is going to change you, but it's understanding it's like a revolving door. It is constantly changing. So when it comes to your clothing style, I'm looking at things. I am so not investing right now. So it's like you'll change your style. You want to cut your hair off and go to extremities. Don't do that. No, it's the astrology. You'll regret it later, honestly. If you still resonate with it, wait till the end of February. Do it then. Save some cash, put it away. You get that doll style. If you're going to change your wardrobe, again, we can be looking at more practical things, more traditional things, maybe looking, and we will see in fashion a lot of trends change in this. And I did mention this before, a lot of neon makeup, a lot of psychedelic hair colors. It can go from, you know, super sleek and maybe similar to the go-go dancers, you know, kind of Rihanna style cuts, to very, you know, short hair, long hair kind of thing, on two different sides. I saw a style the other day and I was like, I could really imagine that coming through in 2022. But we'll see more earth-based cosmetics. We can probably get a lot more cosmetic lines coming through. There will be a lot more feminine entrepreneurs. And the funny thing is, in astrology, we're going to have good and bad with that. So it can be great things happening with women, and it can be really terrible, eye-opening things with women, also with children, because we currently have Taurus in the placement of Uranus and Taurus, and that's younger and older. But it's also, yeah, it can be in that kind of viewpoint. So this can be new businesses coming through. It can be old businesses coming back and really doing well. But it's going to be a transformation in those areas of retail, trade, postal services, technology. I did see a couple of companies on YouTube that are launching technology companies starting really in December, moving through to January. I was like, I don't know about that. You know, that's really not a good time to do such, due to the fact that Venus will be retrograde. So it can be very difficult. We can maybe get into contracts and they may not look exactly as we thought they were. So it's really being mindful of that, and it'll be important to read the fine print. If you do want to do any moving at the moment, be it it's a home, it's a contract, it is signing a lease, and this is not legal advice, this is astrological. You need to do it by the 18th, worst case, hi Angela, of December. After that, accidentally we may get ourselves into circumstances that are set for 6 months, 12 months. Don't do that. Avoid that as much as possible. Just make it a pass. My name is no, my number's no. Because what you can find is, after you got yourself into a circumstance that A, didn't resonate with you, B, details were missing, and it didn't turn out to be as stable or lucrative as you thought. With relationships, if you are communicating with a current partner or connections of the past, at the moment there's a lot of Mars and Scorpio is very intimate. So if you're feeling really passionate, a couple of ways you can deal with this. If you're single, exercise, do things that are practical, burn your energy out and shift the energy onto what you can control. That's utilizing your sacral chakra in something positive. As it moves into Sagittarius, we can be really focused on being very giving, very loving, looking at our values, creating healthy boundaries. Creating a healthy boundary is generally with ourselves. It's like, okay, I can and can't do this. And somebody can ask a request of you and you're like, I totally empathize where you're at, but you know, you have to respect where you're at too. So a lot of people at the moment are creating healthy boundaries and they're really putting the brakes on. It doesn't mean to say you have to be nasty. It just means that that's where you're getting to, and that's what the reality is. So healthy boundaries will be coming up. And that can be statement pieces too. I'm really noticing that coming through with the psychic energy and the astrology at the moment. So they're very firm standpoints. It's like, we can't do this, we can't do that. I will and won't. Okay. What's the other thing I saw? So yes, moving into this month, try and be as productive as possible. You definitely will get blasts from the past coming back. Some of you, it can be coming through in the dream states. More than likely, it's going to be communication. This can be with old friends. Some of you will be meeting with each other. And, you know, if you need to travel, keep it practical, guys. How would I put it? If it's your mother or father you haven't seen and you just don't know what's going to come around the corner, just go do it. Don't put life on hold. You know, that's really be very focused on the triangle, the pyramid of concern, and what you would and wouldn't regret, and just do it, you know. So don't trust the process, but be realistic. It's like, if you're gonna think, oh gosh, you know, I'll do it next year, don't leave what you can do for today. Do it today. Kind of be quite practical with that, because, you know, nothing's ever assured. And if there was, that could be a little pocket window. Now, what I can see is definitely by mid-year, there can be more to do with travel. But again, I'm going to wait until I get to February. I have two sides of the coin of predictions. One is that we are changing, developing, restructuring, and dealing more with our well-being as the war. The other could be a war. Hoping not. Hoping not at all. Generally, we're always doing such inside our own lives, but there can be subjects at the moment, which I'm already seeing with Scorpio moving to the South Node, is third world countries are actually coming up where, and what does Chiron do? The lotus flower, you know, it's through the murky waters comes light, and it's like we're suddenly seeing and having all these uncoverings to do with different countries that are really struggling economically in their health and their well-being, and this can be a major theme really coming up over the next, I would say, year, that we will have to look at. And it also can be to do with ancestors of land, you know, tribes, cultures, us really looking back at that. And Capricorn brings tradition, and it's every person's tradition is really relevant. So a lot of those subjects can be coming up, you know, between now and January 2022. So, you know, we have seen also younger generations coming through. Any questions before I love you and leave you? I do have a live happening shortly in the Members Hub, so I'll have to love you and leave you. If you do want a booking, jump in now, because I am blocking off half of the month. And that's, you know, I do have coaching up until the 23rd. I'll be open. But after such, there are going to be pocket dates for webinars. We do have Venus Retrograde in Capricorn webinar coming up, which it is on the website at the moment. So if you want to join that, you can jump on, and it'll give you tips in your zodiac sign. Also, if you want to cross-reference and you're in the webinar, I do cover, you know, how things can be playing out, particularly in your zodiac sign or with the love interest. So if you want to join us for that, the website link is directly below. Otherwise, stay tuned, and I'll see you all soon.